Howdy everyone, welcome back to Wobble Enjoy Sports. If you're new around here, hope I can get you to consider to like the content and subscribe to the channel. But if you're a regular around these here parts, thank you very much for the continuous support. Better late than never. Round 25 starts on Thursday from Leichhardt Oval. West Tigers host the Manly Sea Eagles. Tigers are $4.50. Manly are $1.20. Luke Brooks returns to Leichhardt Oval. I'm sure he'll get some boos, but I'm really not too sure how visceral a reception he'll get. We'll see. Manly are in way too good a form at the start of the season. I might have tossed up the idea that the Tigers could have caused an upset against Manly, but Manly have become stronger mentally, in my opinion. I think they're a mentally tougher team than what they had been for about 2 years or so there, but I think they've turned the corner, and I'm going to say Manly win this game 13 plus. Friday night football has 2 games, and match number 1 is from the one night only named Shaun Johnson Stadium. The Warriors host the Bulldogs. The Wars, they're $2.47, whereas the Bulldogs are sitting around that $1.50 mark, $1.40 mark. Shaun Johnson's last ever game at Go Media Stadium, Mount Smart Stadium, and Wade Egan returns into the fold, so that does make them a better side. The Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, they're essentially the same 1-17, but keep an eye on the reserves list because Max King has been named on the reserves list, so he could be a late inclusion. I really want to tip the Warriors here. I really do. You'd think they're due a win. The Dogs due a loss. They've had a big month of travel, the Dogs. They've been up to Queensland 3 times in the space of 5 weeks, I think it is, and they've taken on the Bulldogs. They've taken on the Dragons and the Raiders as well. Some fierce battles there, and now they've got to go from Bundaberg to Auckland. I think maybe with all the emotion with the Warriors and with all the travel the Dogs have done, I think maybe I will tip the Warriors just. But the last time these two sides met turned out to be one of the games this season, and if it's anything like that, we're in for a very, very special game. And I think a little bit of vengeance will be on the mind of the Warriors as well because of what happened in that game earlier in the season. I'm going to tip the Warriors 1-12 here. The second game on Friday night footy emanates from Suncorp Stadium. Broncos host the Eels. Broncos, they're about $1.35, whereas the Eels are $3.21. Brisbane are coming off of the bye, and they reintroduce Selwyn Cobbo back into the fold. And Tristan Saylor takes over the fullback position probably for the rest of the season, as Reece Walsh broke an element in his hand a couple of weeks ago. Parramatta Eels, they had their worst performance arguably of the season last week in my opinion. I thought they were very, very bad against the Roosters in the monsoonal conditions. Jake Tungo misses out, and Micah Sivo takes over the edge spot, the winger spot. I think Parramatta can give the Broncos a hell of a fright here. Brisbane are they're absolutely bashed. They're battered and bruised with injuries, but there's so much to play here. There's so much to play for here for the Broncos, as their season technically is not dead. They need to win every single game and hope on a couple of different results, but their season's not dead, and it might be if they lose against the Parramatta Eels. So I think there's just a bit too much to play for here, but it's not the best looking Broncos side you've ever seen, and I think Parramatta might give them a scare, but I'm going to tip the Brisbane Broncos to win 1-12. 3 games on Super Saturday. Game number 1 is from GIO Stadium in Canberra. The Raiders versus the Panthers. Raiders are about $3.21, whereas the Panthers are about $1.30. And the Raiders, they have Jordan Rapana coming into the fold, and same with Albert Hopewati. So Ethan Strange is out with injury, and that pushes Kyo Weeks into the 5/8 role and Hopewati onto the wing. For the Panthers, Nathan Cleary out for the rest of the home and away regular season, and Mitch Kenny is suspended, so therefore Brad Schneider comes into play 5/8, Jerome Luai at halfback, and Luke Summerton will be the hooker to start. Panthers 13+. Second game on Super Saturday is from Amy Park. Melbourne versus Dolphins. Melbourne $1.18. Dolphins are $4.95. The Storm, they are going to be without Grant Anderson, so therefore Wishart moves to the wing. Fa'alongo comes off of the bench in jersey 14, and keep an eye on the reserves, as Christian Welch has been named on the reserves list. For the Dolphins, just the one change in the 1-17. Mark Nichols is in off of the bench. This is the Bromwich's first game at Amy Park since they departed the Melbourne Storm, and if the Storm do defeat the Dolphins, it does lock in the North Queensland Cowboys into finals footy. So if Storm win, the Cowboys are in. So for 80 minutes and for one night only, Storm, you've got a fan in me. Storm 13+. The last game on Super Saturday is from Accor Stadium. Rabbits versus the Knights. South Sydney are $2.45, whereas the Knights are sitting about $1.50, I think it is. The South Sydney Rabbitohs, they're going to be without Cody Walker for this game, and for the Newcastle Knights, Tyson Gamble is out. The Newcastle Knights took it to the Sharks very, very handsomely. They did a very, very good effort. They've been taking it to teams up above them all season long, it feels like. So I'm thinking that they get the dub here. The Rabbitohs, their season is done. It ended a few weeks ago, honestly. But I'm going to tip the Newcastle Knights in this one. 1-12. And then on Sunday, there are 2 games, and match number 1 is from Cbus Super Stadium. Titans, $4.60. The Roosters, about $1.20. Easts, 13+. And the final game of round 25 is arguably the game of the round, I think it is. The Dragons versus the Sharks. St. George Illawarra are about $2.27. The Sharks are about $1.67. And for the Dragons, you got the Fengai twins playing in the centres. The Couchman brothers both coming off of the bench. And Michaeli Ravalawa has been named on the reserves list. Whereas for the Sharkies, they got a fair bit of movement. So the likes of Talakai and Katoa are missing from this game. Sam Stonestreet covers Katoa, and Kyle Iro returns from injury to cover for Talakai in the centres. And then the forward pack looks like Hazelton and Jack Williams and Teague Wilton return into the mix. So the Sharkies, while they're still missing Hines, Katoa and Talakai, this is a very good looking Sharks outfit. And I don't know what happened in their performance last week against the Knights. They put the cleaners through the Titans, and I guess they really did miss Jack Williams and a couple of their other players last weekend against the Newcastle Knights. There just wasn't the same sort of punch that was there against the Titans. It was against the Titans though. So I'm going to tip the Sharkies in this game. The Sharks have dominated the Dragons in recent years. Dragons will give them a fight. It is a local derby. It is a rivalry game. So who knows? But I'm going to tip the Sharkies to win a close one, 1-12. Howdy everyone. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you. Take care. Adios.